witness as wolf. A criminological analysis of homicides with delayed perpetrator-initiated reports. Introduction: the performance of innocence. This report provides a comprehensive examination of a distinct and psychologically complex subcategory of homicide. This typology is defined by a specific sequence of actions. The perpetrator commits murder, waits for a significant period, often hours, and then initiates contact with law enforcement, positioning themselves as an innocent witness or the shocked discoverer of the crime.
This act of deliberately inserting oneself into the investigation represents a high-risk, high-reward strategy rooted in pathological narcissism, a profound need for narrative control, and a propensity for high-stakes gambling. The critical period between the act of murder and the feigned discovery call is an active and crucial phase of the crime. During this time, the perpetrator transitions from killer to actor, meticulously staging the crime scene, altering evidence, and rehearsing the script they will deliver to authorities to anchor the investigative narrative in a version of events that exonerates them. The psychology of delay, anatomy of a deception. The decision to delay a call is a strategic choice. The primary motives form a clear pattern of calculated deception. Alibi construction, the most common motive. The delay provides time to create a believable story, establish a false location, or coordinate with accomplices. Crime scene staging. Perpetrators use this time to alter the scene to support their false narrative, such as faking a suicide, burglary, or accident. Emotional rehearsal. The killer practices their performance, working to appear genuinely shocked, panicked, or grieving when they finally make the call. Evidence disposal. Crucial time is used to hide or destroy murder weapons, bloody clothing, and other incriminating physical evidence. Section 1. The partner as the first responder. Intimate partner homicides provide fertile ground for the perpetrator as witness strategy. The domestic space is converted into a controlled stage for a fabricated discovery, where the perpetrator weaponizes their intimate knowledge of the victim and their environment to construct a plausible, yet ultimately flawed, narrative. 1.1. Case study: the Ryan Widmer case, a dry drowning. The case of Ryan Widmer's 3 trials for the murder of his wife Sarah hinges on the irreconcilable conflict between his frantic 911 call and the physical evidence. The 911 call is performance. At 10:49 p.m. on August 11, 2008, Ryan Widmer called 911, breathlessly stating, "My wife fell asleep in the bathtub and I think she's dead." He immediately established his narrative, claiming this was a known habit to add plausibility. This call was a calculated performance designed to frame the death as a tragic accident. The paradox of the staged scene. The primary evidence undermining Widmer's story was the crime scene itself. Responders were met with a conspicuously and unnaturally dry scene. Sarah's body, the bathroom floor, and the surrounding area showed no signs of a chaotic, watery rescue. This lack of expected evidence created a powerful forensic paradox. In his attempt to create a clean scene, Widmer inadvertently erased the very indicators of the event he was reporting, making the absence of evidence, known as negative evidence, highly incriminating. Section 2. Familial annihilation. Framing a scapegoat. 2.1. Case study: the White House Farm murders. The White House Farm murders stand as a definitive case of premeditated familicide, where Jeremy Bamber executed his family and used a 5 to 6 hour delay to stage an elaborate murder-suicide scene, framing his mentally ill sister Sheila Caffell. The fabricated call. At 3:30 a.m. on August 7, 1985, Bamber made a calm call to a non-emergency police number. He claimed to have received a frantic call from his father, stating Sheila had gone berserk with a gun. This call was the calculated delivery of a prepackaged narrative. His calm demeanor and choice not to dial the emergency line were profound behavioral red flags, inconsistent with a genuine crisis. Dismantling the narrative. The suicide theory was rendered a physical impossibility by the discovery of a silencer containing Sheila's blood. The rifle with the silencer attached was too long for her to have turned on herself. This forensic fact, combined with the later testimony of his girlfriend, Julie Mugford, who revealed his premeditated plan, destroyed his alibi. Section 3. A comparative framework. Deception versus trauma. To understand the manipulative nature of a perpetrator's delayed call, it is essential to contrast it with cases where delays occur for non-malicious reasons, such as genuine trauma or psychological shock. 3.1. Witness trauma or investigative failure. the Idaho student murders. The 2022 University of Idaho murders present a perplexing real-world example of an 8-hour delay. While officially attributed to witness trauma, the circumstances raise critical questions that were not rigorously investigated. The timeline of silence. The murders occurred around 4 o'clock to 4:25 a.m., yet the 911 call was not made until nearly noon. One surviving roommate told police she saw a masked figure leave the house, but went back to her room in, quote, frozen shock. Questionable actions and parallels. Instead of calling 911, the roommates called friends to the scene. A pattern reminiscent of the JonBenet Ramsey case that inevitably contaminates a crime scene. The eventual 911 call made by a friend reported a vague, unconscious person rather than a violent crime. The lack of deeper inquiry by investigators into the roommates' inconsistent statements, their activities during the 8-hour delay, and the decision to summon friends first has fueled skepticism. While the delay is officially explained as psychological paralysis, the circumstances created confounding variables and left doubts that have never been adequately addressed, making it a poor role example for a reasonable delay. 3.2. The compulsion to confess. The weepy-voiced killer. At the opposite end of the spectrum is the perpetrator who calls police out of a compulsion to confess. Between 1980 and 1982, Paul Michael Stefani, the weepy-voiced killer, would place anonymous, hysterical calls to police to report his own crimes. His calls were direct, anonymous confessions driven by apparent remorse, such as, "God damn, will you find me? I just stabbed somebody with an ice pick. I can't stop myself." This demonstrates a psychological state that is the inverse of the manipulative caller. 3.3. Comparative analysis of delayed call cases. Case. Perpetrator/callers. Estimated delay. Nature of call. Key staging elements. Primary evidence of deception. Ryan Widmer. Perpetrator. Several hours. Performative narrative. Fell asleep in tub. Dry body/bathroom. No signs of struggle. Forensic inconsistency of the dry drowning scene. White House Farm. Jeremy Bamber. Perpetrator. Approximately 5 to 6 hours. Elaborate fabricated narrative. Father called. Rifle and Bible. Placed on Sheila. Silencer hidden. Forensic impossibility. Silencer. Witness testimony. Idaho murders. Surviving roommates. Witnesses. Approximately 8 hours. Confused report. Unconscious person. None. Scene was not altered, allegedly. Conflicting witness statements. Calling friends before 911. Paul Stephanie. Perpetrator. Minutes to hours. Anonymous confession. I can't stop myself. None. Reported scene as is. Enlay call was a direct confession. Conclusion. Investigative red flags and perpetrator psychology. The cases of perpetrators who report their own crimes demonstrate that this act is a calculated, integral component of the homicide. The delay is the critical intermission where the killer becomes a performer. For investigators, this highlights a fundamental principle. The initial report must be treated as a narrative requiring rigorous verification against the immutable language of forensic evidence. Key investigative red flags. Linguistic and behavioral. Narrative versus symptom. Deceptive callers provide a full story. Genuine callers report a symptom. Emotional incongruity. The caller is either too calm or theatrically distressed. Self-serving details, including details to preemptively establish innocence. Forensic indicators of staging. Negative evidence. The absence of evidence that should be present, e.g., water, blood. Planted artifacts. Deliberate placement of objects to support a false narrative. Signs of cleanup. Wipe marks or unnaturally clean surfaces. The truth is rarely found in the words.